We finally finished the job working on the rental house, and now we have a break and we're going to Southeast Oregon to do a little fishing. Past the vineyards and the Filbert Groves as we head out of the Willamette Valley toward Eastern Oregon. We got a real late start, so by the time the sun is setting low in the sky, we've only reached Chickahominy Reservoir, and we didn't really want to travel at night, and so we decided to camp at Chickahominy. The sunset was quite brilliant with all the smoke from the wildfires in the atmosphere. It gave it a lot of color. We were fortunate enough to have a harvest moon to set up our camp by. It's a $4 fee to camp in the campground. Since we have the Golden Age card, it only costs us $4. There is no one here to take the money, so we just fill out an envelope and drop it in the little slot and go ahead and pick our camp and go to bed.
A full moon over Chickahominy.
It was a nice, warm, quiet night that night, so we really enjoyed camping at Chickahominy Reservoir. The moon couldn't have been any fuller or any prettier. It was really a pretty night. The next morning, we have to take the tent down, fold it up, and put it in the bag, and head on the rest of the way on our journey. Other years, Chickahominy Reservoir was one of our favorite places to fish. We used to fish there and catch a lot of really nice big rainbow and take them out to the desert and have a fish feed. But that's not going to happen this year because due to the drought, Chickahominy Reservoir is totally dry. There's no line at the fish cleaning station like there is sometimes. Matter of fact, there's no one around, and I expect it's locked.
The reservoir is completely dried up.
Somebody told me someone snuck some sharks in here.
Yeah.
They drank all the water.
Uh-huh. There's the reservoir. We used to fish right here. Wow, I can't believe it.
I have no idea what the future is for Chickahominy Reservoir, but we're heading on. We're heading east, past Burns, and then Crane Hot Springs. This is a private hot springs where you have to pay a price and slip your swimsuit on, and then you can jump in some very nice pools here. It would be okay, but we prefer the natural ones ourselves. The weather's starting to heat up and the road's coming to a point in front of us with some mirages that look like we're driving into water. Then past some irrigated alfalfa fields with their sprinklers spraying out precious water. Then, as we look down the road, we see more mirages, and they've got that truck that's coming toward us all distorted. As we watch him come, it almost looks as if he's driving out of water, but there's no water here, and particularly this really dry season. But by now, we're driving into the usual thing for out here this time of year. That is, the last few years it's been this way, and that's wildfire smoke and lots of it. As we reach the hills near the base of the Steens Mountains, it'd be the south side of the Steens Mountains, and past the turnoff where you go to fields and the Albert Desert, the smoke becomes more intense.
Under terribly smoky skies.
We reach our little trailer house that's on our daughter's 160 acres just after noon, and so we're checking around and we see a lot of tumbleweeds coming up in the lawn. Looks like the ants have had a really good year, and we have a few ground squirrels around.
We're gonna get the refrigerator started. We brought over some lumber to make a windbreak for the picnic table, so we can barbecue in our gas barbecue. How does the camp trailer look inside?
Well, it's got a few,
Nothing's-
it's a little dusty.
A few bugs have died up.
Yeah.
You know, those are flying ants.
I forgot our new windsock I bought.
She bought a new windsock to put up out here, but forgot
Forgot it.
So we're gonna get some matches here if we can find them and start the refrigerator.
Okay. Shut it off. The dust. Here. Okay.
After we got settled in a little bit, we decided to go check the hot springs out. On the way there was an alfalfa field belonging to the White Horse Ranch, and here were some great big sets of ears on top of a little head as we go
Tom, you're
past
scaring them.
quite a bunch of mule deer.
That last one's a little papa deer.
There was only one little buck in the whole herd. I guess it's the wrong time of year to expect to see very many bucks, sometimes little ones, but we didn't see any. But it almost seems to me like the new mule deer numbers are coming back out in this country. I'm not certain of that, but it sure seems like it. It sure is great to see some deer once again. I just hope the numbers are increasing so we'll see
what
more.
are you doing?
There sure seem to be a lot of fawns this year, and that is really good to see. That's the deer of the future.
He's the last one. See his little horns?
And there is the only little boy deer we saw in the group, and so we call him a Spike. He just has one little point on his antler. The moon is great. This area, according to National Geographic, has less light pollution than any place in the entire world. They didn't say anything about the wildfire smoke though. Marge's favorite little ground squirrel. She calls him Stretch. He stretches out on the ground, and the reason they do that, they lay their belly on the ground in the shade, where the ground is a little cooler. They can absorb a little of that coolness.
This is tumbleweed.
In this area, this is the type of tumbleweed we have, and it's a nasty one. It has little thorns on it that are losing off all the time, and they'll stick in your foot. They're kind of a little burr,
Prickly.
and so they're not very pleasant to get in your foot. The little burrs are out on the end of each branch, and they fall off under the tumbleweed, and also when it rolls it throws them off. and that's protection for their seed, and also it helps spread the seed because these collect on all sorts of animals and everything, and then they carry them someplace and they eventually fall off and they can start a new tumbleweed then. Yeah, they're just little burrs. And show us how they stick to you. Stick onto your finger.
Oh, they'll stick okay.
They're sharper.
They're sharp.
And they work into your shoes and catch in your shoe sole, and
see, they'll catch right into your, look at that, tip of your finger. They'll hang right on.
Whoops, just a second now. I was chopping some out here, and those thorns fell out all over the ground.
We try to chop them out before they bloom, and then those little burrs don't get formed. But this year, we just didn't get a chance. So we've got a mess here.
After walking
no one's
through
gonna
the
go
area,
barefoot around
this
here.
is the way the bottom of your shoe looks. They're just stuck everywhere to it. And they eventually work their way up and go inside your shoe and all over your clothes. So we're going to try to chop them out, although it's too late since we've been working and haven't gotten here. Until now, we're a little too late. We usually try to get them before they bloom, and then they're no problem. But now you can't walk barefoot any place around, or even with sandals. They're a nuisance. We had sweet corn last night, and we threw the cob out here, and it looks like there's somebody wanting to eat the cob.
Looks like our little ground squirrel came to pay us a nice morning visit.
Tumbleweed, I read that. Weeds, Russian thistles, and some other weeds common to dry western lands have a knack for soaking up depleted uranium from contaminated soils at weapons testing grounds and battlefields.
We bring just a few unsalted peanuts for the ground squirrels. These little ground squirrels are a solitary ground squirrel, so we only have about one at a time come in, and we don't feed them a whole bunch of peanuts because we don't want to mess with their natural feeding cycle. These little ground squirrels have the ability to make their own water with the hydrogen from the seeds they eat, and then the oxygen they breathe in. They have the thing right in their gut to make water, and so they don't have to have a drink of water in their entire life. But that doesn't mean they don't like a nice drink of water once in a while. So Marge provides them a little dish of water, and as soon as the peanuts run out, they go over and grab a drink of water. Looks like it might be a good day to take a little drive in the pickup out to see a playa. These playas are a very special, unique part of our environment and need to be protected, and also they're really nice. Most of the playas in Oregon were at one time state highways. Before there were roads, they drove across the playas, so most of them now it's legal to drive on them. One thing about the playas, they sometimes have a little bit of water set on them in the spring and summer months, and so you don't want to drive on them when there's water on them, or you'll get stuck, and that'd be the worst stuck you could ever get. You might be so far out they couldn't reach you with a cable, so you'd be in bad shape. So never drive on a playa when it's wet.
Look, people have been out there. Look at all the tracks.
These playas at one time were super deep lakes, but they have no drainage, so all the nearby minerals flowed into them, and then as the water disappeared, they built up and built a super level flat playa, and this is made up of boraxes, salts and alkalis and lots of clay, so they're real unique places. We have to go to Wyoming and check on our cabin. We've been so darn busy we haven't even got there, so we're going to take a quick trip over to the cabin. Marge hasn't learned that the real cowboy drives and then he doesn't have to mess with the gate. We get to the cabin, and of course it's Wyoming, so of course the wind is blowing, and so I'm going to gas up my old junker of a push lawnmower and mow the grass around the cabin just to keep the fire danger down. Those darn badgers have been at their thing again. Their thing is digging holes. They've about dug the whole place up. If I could catch one of those badgers, I'd give him a good talking to about that digging, but they're nocturnal, so you seldom see them. Although there are plenty of them around, you don't see them that much during daylight. They dig an especially big, nice hole for their den, and then they dig all over the place. Wherever there's a ground squirrel burrow, they'll dig the ground squirrels up and make a really nice dinner out of it. They're powerful little animals, and they're built real stocky and muscular, so it doesn't take them much time at all to dig a hole. The mowing is going along quite well, and within several hours I have the entire place mowed. At one time, we used the cabin a whole lot and really enjoyed it. It's very comfortable, nice little house on the prairie. And we did lots of hunting and fishing around. But recently, we haven't been able to draw tags to go hunting, and our favorite lake we like to fish in, the fish pretty much died, and then they say there was a chemical change in the lake, so they aren't coming back like they should. The elevation here is 7,600 feet, so winter's going to be setting in real soon, and we're going to go back to Oregon and try a little fishing for bass in the Owyhee River. That's Marge's favorite place for fishing. We just started out and the rain started. Well, I guess we can't complain about the rain. We really need the rain. The quaking aspens are just starting to get their very best of fall colors right now. It's just begun. We move along till dark that night, and then we reach our trailer house in the desert where we'll do some fishing. We're out of time for this week, So join us next week and we'll go down to the Owyhee River and see how the fishing is. And also, if you would like, you can help me solve a mystery that I found of a whole bunch of dead geese up on the banks of the Owyhee River. It looked to me like there were about 50 of the big Canadian honkers.